Hello, it's nice to be with you today, and we're going to be working in this tutorial on relaxing the shoulders. And before we get started with examples of this, I just want to talk a little bit contextually about why this is so important and when it's important to apply. So even if you're just starting yoga and asana practice in particular, it's good to know the role of the shoulders and how the shoulders behave in certain situations automatically so that we can start consciously working with them and getting more out of our asana practices just by doing that. And what do I mean by that? So in any stage of asana, there's a tendency for the shoulders to come in and become overactive. And this can be happening while we're in a stationary asana or while we're in transition between asanas. So it's really important to keep track of the shoulders and understand that when the shoulders are overactive, it indicates a lot of activity up in the head, particularly the mind. And so even when we're just starting out, we're trying to figure out, what am I doing in this asana? What is the teacher saying? And there's a lot of mental activity, and the shoulders can become engaged. But when you find yourself inside the asana, you can start to relax the shoulders, and more than that, you can start to engage deeper in the body, particularly in the pelvic area, the lower abdomen, the core, and engage through the legs and connect through the feet if you're standing, and you can connect through the sit bones if you're sitting, and engage through the muscles of the legs. And what you'll notice happen is that when you catch your shoulders being overactive and you decide to engage deeper in the body, you start to relieve more of the mental activity in the mind and become embodied in your practice. So it's not just about technique or doing something right, it's about feeling a deeper sense of connection inside of your body and having a deeper and more sophisticated conversation with your body, which in essence is a huge benefit of an ongoing yoga practice. So what we're going to be doing today is just going through a few fundamental positions, so that this is just a short introduction to the shoulders in practice. And then you can take this wisdom and you can apply it to just about any pose that you approach. And so fundamentally, I'll be repeating some prompts, and you'll see how they're kind of linked through the entire skeleton of a practice. And so we'll begin actually by looking at the most fundamental pose of all, and that's Tadasana and mountain pose. And when we're standing in mountain pose, we're invited to start to draw our attention toward the bottoms of the feet and engage the muscles of the legs. In doing that, we're already drawing the attention down deep in the body. And you can look at the pelvic alignment, and if the tailbone is lifted, or if you have a higher arch in the lower back, you can tuck, as they say, the tailbone, or turn the pelvis downward from the back, and then the heart lifts, and what do the shoulders do? They relax. You can even draw the shoulders further down using the shoulder blades. And then the top of the head reaches up, so there's an elongation in the spine. And from here, we have our first opportunity to explore how the shoulders tend to want to come up. And so when we take our first inhale to lift the hands overhead, we slow down and we watch the shoulder with our mind, the shoulders with our mind's eye. And I would keep the gaze down actually at first while lifting the hands, and then slowly start to lift the gaze, keeping the shoulders soft. And you can keep the hands here, or if you bring them together, keep the shoulders drawn down as you reach the hands up. And then exhaling the hands down. So you can see that if you're mindfully doing this, you can keep the shoulders away from the ears. The automatic first beginning can be more like this, where the shoulders also want to be part of this activity. And we want to avoid that. So again, we start in Tadasana, we have the shoulder girdle lowered through the activity in the shoulder blades. And then we inhale and lift the hands overhead and just try to keep the shoulders as close to they were in Tadasana as possible as you lift the hands. Ground down through the feet. And then exhale, bring your hands down. So you're still active in the lower body, the legs and the feet, and your shoulders are soft. And so now let's fast forward a little bit to when we get back to approach Chaturanga. And so this is another area where it's very tempting for the shoulders to get involved. What I see a lot when I'm watching students practice is that there's a coming down like this, and the shoulders just kind of arch forward and come toward the neck, and then almost like a wave up like this, and then the shoulders are still kind of stuck. And so what we want to do here is slow down and involve the core, the rest of the body. It's harder at first, but you want to ingrain this habit rather than the other one. So your hands are shoulder distance apart, and the eyes of the elbows, what I mean by the eyes, is the inside here of the elbows, are not all the way forward, but are kind of almost there. They're like a 45-degree angle here. And so you're coming down, and you're lowering down, and the elbows are not tucking in beside you, but they're like so. And as you lower down, you come to about 90 degrees with the elbows. Like so. And then the heart reaches forward. The shoulders hardly did anything. Your elbows are not locked here. Your heart reaches forward and you look down the cheeks and come back. And here you are. And from here, another move to release the shoulders from an extra burden is to look here at the emphasis you're putting on the hands. So again, it's tempting to start out like this, and then there's a strange pull along the outside of the shoulders. What you want to do is bring that knuckle of the pointer fingers down, push down with it. So you're pushing in this direction. At the same time, you're rotating the eyes of the elbow in the same angle as before, like about a 45 degree. And you're in downward dog. And in downward dog, you could set yourself up for pincha or come back. So that's kind of how the elbows are and the shoulders are positioned. There's an external rotation here in the elbows, and there's almost an internal rotation once you get down to the fingers. So it's a little bit tricky at first, but it's sophisticated. And in that, you have this opening in the shoulders, opening around the neck, and you have this setup that you could even bring your elbows down and lift up. And as you bring the elbows down, if you practice this, just to check the alignment, you want to push down with the knuckles of the pointer fingers as well. So you want to come down, push down with the knuckles of the pointer fingers, and come back up. And so then you start feeling this relationship between the hands, wrists, elbows, and the shoulders. And this comes in handy later. But this is what you end up with in downward dog. You end up with free neck, open shoulders, grounded hands, and then energy pulling back toward the sit bones. And now we are going to take a look at Trigonasana and the shoulders. So Trigonasana, this also benefits the shoulders. I start with the front knee bent, no matter your flexibility level. And even if you have the flexibility to come all the way down with the hands to the foot, bring a block into it, and take your hand to the block. Set the block lengthwise like this. And bring your right hand to the block and bend your right knee. And already begin to push down through the back foot. And now turn, lift the left hand and look up at the fingertips. And push down with the right hand. And start straightening the front knee. And then engage the quadricep muscles. So engage the muscles of the legs, lift the toes up. Relax the right shoulder. Look up toward the left fingertips. And try to open the arms like an eagle would open the wings. And then reach the chin back. Reach the head back. And then really engage through the muscles of the legs. Get control in the pelvis and feel the shoulders soften even more. And the breath becomes deeper. And then bend the front knee. Push in through the front foot. And come up. So when you use the block, you can re-emphasize the twist at the mid-back. And also the expansion out. And the opening of the shoulders. So we'll do the left side with a block, and then we'll do without the block, or you can repeat with the block. So we take the block to the outside of the foot. Place the left hand on the block, bend the left knee, push down through the back foot, and already start engaging the back leg. Lift the right hand, and then start engaging both legs, the quads. Turn the pelvis. Turn the face, push down on the block, and then relax the lower shoulder. Relax the left shoulder. And then reach the head back. Keep engaging through the quads. Relax the shoulders more. Keep looking up. Relax the shoulders. Lift the toes. Engage through the legs. Breathe deep. And then bend the front knee. Push into the front leg. And release. You can use the block again, just like we did before. Or this time, if you like to reach the toes, you bend the front knee, reach forward with the right hand, keep the knee bent at first, and you're drawing your awareness down through the pelvis and down through the back foot and the back leg. And start straightening the front leg, turn and open, and then relax your right shoulder. And engage the quads in both legs. And lift the chin away from the chest and reach the upper chest a little bit back. And just open the arms like the wings of an eagle. And keep engaging through the legs and engage through the pelvis. And breathing deep. So it should feel relaxing in the upper body. And then bend the front knee. And push up. Because you're engaged, Sthiram Sukham, engaged through the lower legs, and the upper body can relax. Just like old fairy tales where the prince will come and pick up the princess and carry her. You know, you can do whatever gender roles you like, but somebody comes and picks you up. You want that person to be strong, and then you can relax in their arms. So you want your legs to be strong, so your upper body can relax and open and feel free. Bend the left knee, we'll do on the left side again. Place the left hand down wherever you would like. Engage the back leg. Engage the front leg. Straighten the front knee, turn the chest, reach the right fingertips up. Engage the quads. Push down through the feet, lift the toes, relax the lower shoulder. Keep engaging the quads. Keep finding more opening. Relax both shoulders as much as you can. Even though you're opening your arms like the wings, feel the space in the shoulders. Reach the chin away from the chest. Lean back a little bit with the very upper chest and face. And then bend the front knee and push in through the front foot and come up and out. So that gives you an idea in the standing poses how that works. So now we're going to go to the seated poses. And first let's look at Pashimotanasana. So when we're sitting I'm going to invite you to sit on a block, even if you have the flexibility to come all the way down. We want to get out of the shoulders. And you can draw your sit bones closer to the block by removing the flesh away from between the block and your sit bones. And draw the toes back toward your face. And sit here for a moment. And really connect with the sit bones and notice the lower back, notice the position of the spine. And now you're going to start to come forward, but only via the pelvis. And if it helps, you can take your hands to the pelvis to make sure that you're working with the movement of the pelvis and you're not leaning forward or trying to reach forward with the chin. So keep everything integrated as it was and try to isolate the movement into the pelvis. And if this is about as far as you can get, you can take your fingertips here and push down, lowering the shoulders down with the shoulder blades, and then coming forward, drawing the toes back. And so if you're not feeling anything here, you can come further and further forward, but again, the movement is in the pelvis. Further and further, further and further. And you're keeping the spine nice and long, and then you should start feeling an intense stretch here, where it belongs. Notice my hands have not reached forward yet. And if it's easy enough for you to reach the feet, easy enough for you to reach beyond the feet, try to bring the hands forward passively as possible. And now, inhale and lift the heart. Reach the heart forward toward the toes. And then when you exhale and come down a little more, lift the elbows and draw the shoulders away from the ears with the shoulder blades. And then inhale and lift. And then exhale, release. So this is very different than how you're doing asana normally, probably. But it's just a contextual look at how would it be to do this without leading with the shoulders, right? So if you're coming forward typically in this, like this already, how is it going to be through the whole experience? And once you're down here, what's happening? You're drawing the shoulders back, but then engage the muscles of the legs. Lift Mula Bandha. Engage Uddiyana Bandha. And feel how the pelvis moves even more. And you can keep the block or you can remove the block, and the same thing again. We're just going to look at it one more time. So now we're here. You take your hands to your pelvis, draw the toes towards your face. We're just unpacking this. We're just workshopping this a little. And so keep the spine nice and integrated. Keep the shoulders totally relaxed. Come as far forward as you can. Use your hands to push you from behind, or take your hands to the side. And you see how your lower belly starts to come toward the thighs, and this is a good sign. If the lower belly is arched back, then this is going into your lower back in a detrimental way, in a way that's not helpful. And so you really want the pelvis to be moving forward here, and the lower belly to be coming in contact with the thighs more. And then you keep reaching the heart forward, reaching. Engage the muscles of the quadriceps and the muscles of the legs. You can even reach your hands very relaxed forward, and then draw the shoulder blades away from the ears. And breathe. And then come up, and then release. Yeah? Now, see if I can do this with this microphone. I haven't done anything like this with this. So the last one I want to look at is the Dhanurasana, or wheel. And as some might practice to come into wheel, you can come into it with the balls of the feet and the hands and starting on the top of the head. And this is how I always teach it, because I find it very helpful for the shoulders and for the positioning of the feet and the internal rotation of the thighs. Simply because if I just come up with my hands and feet flat and just lift up, I'm kind of stuck where I started. So if you give yourself a chance by starting on the balls of the feet and the crown of the head, you will see why it gives you so many more options once you've gotten halfway into the pose. So let's try it. And this relates to the shoulders then. So first of all, in any back bend, you want to start to tilt the pelvis under a little bit and keep that tilt. And then lift up on the crown of the head, and you're on the balls of the feet. And place the hands. So now, if you're on the top of the head, you have this option to move the hands. So you place the hands again, replace the hands. I like to bring the heels out a little bit, and then bring the elbows in to shoulder distance apart. And then lift up. Now you're 80% there. And now you place the heels, and you push down through the hands. You push down through the knuckle of the pointer finger. Draw the knees more together. And push into the legs as if to straighten them. And then come down. So the key is, when you come up onto the head, to take your time, take it step by step, and place the hands again, and find this critical point where you bring the elbows in. So if there's a tendency for the elbows to come out, look what happens to my shoulders. So the shoulders are here. There's this kind of protective and lots of energy concentrated up here again, right? So we're here, and then watch what happens when I bring the elbows together. There's this beautiful space that's created here, and then there's this whole area that becomes activated, and the heart can shine. Let's look also at camel pose with this logic, and then we'll finish. So with camel pose, I'm just going to turn and not face you for a moment. Take the knees about hip distance apart, or a little tiny bit farther. And with camel pose, you want your thumbs to face out. Why? Because if your thumbs face in, watch what happens to my shoulders. It's this same. So this is shining. The heart can pass through the shoulder area. This is closed off, right? So we bring the hands like this. And then you bring your hands first to your pelvis and push down with the heels of the hands so that you can encourage the pelvis to tilt a little bit, tucking the tailbone. And then lift the heart. So see how the thumbs are out? You lift the heart, and then you can reach forward with the pelvis as much as you can. Keep lifting the heart because your shoulders are rightly positioned, because your thumbs are out, your arms are aligned. You can bring your hands down to your legs. Stay here. You can come up onto the balls of the feet if it helps, or you can keep the feet flat. And then you bring the pelvis forward, engage through the upper glutes, the upper bum, and then slowly let the head fall back. You can hold the head up a little to engage the muscles of the neck. This is nice variation. And then push down through the knees Engage through the pelvis and come up. You're not pushing yourself up with your hands. You're not pushing one hand in the other. You're not using your shoulders. So let's do that again and look really carefully at what's engaging now that we've got the alignment. Got the alignment. Hands go here. What's engaging? Engage Mula Bandha. Push down through the knees. Become conscious of the feet. Become conscious of this area here. And then leaning back, but pushing the pelvis forward a little bit. And then even as your hands come down, you catch yourself here. Hold yourself here. You're not just letting yourself fall down. Letting yourself fall down into your spine. You're lifting yourself up with your legs. And this is becoming more relaxed. So lift and hold yourself here. Come back. Shoulders are relaxed. Breathing deeply. Thinking on the breath. Push down through the knees. Engage here. And come up. So you shouldn't feel yourself fall right into the back. It should be more push down, lift up, relax. So I hope these few examples help show how to start taking the responsibility out of the shoulder area and putting it more into the core, more into the legs, using the bandhas. And I hope that this also helps you enjoy your practice more, and that as you feel what's happening more, you can apply it through your whole practice. Thank you.